Let's talk about nighttime bedwetting because it is a very big topic with a lot of information out there. And I want to clarify our perspective at Unconstipated Kids, how we approach it, what we do to help when we find that it's becoming a challenge for a child, and some things you can start today. Let's dive in. Hi, my name is Dr. Caitlin Keller, and I am the owner and lead physical therapist at Unconstipated Kids. And here at Unconstipated Kids, our mission is to help kids move through and graduate from the challenges related to toileting struggles. So things like constipation, nighttime bedwetting, belly pain, reflux for infants, any kind of challenges related to the gut and toileting, keeping their underwear clean and dry. I hope that today's video pushes you into the right direction to get a great jump start and to move towards full resolution for your child from the challenges they're experiencing. There is this concept that nighttime bedwetting is achieved by a certain age and that it can be appropriate before that age. Our approach is that we don't believe that. So at Unconstipated Kids, we believe that there is something rooted in your child's body, why they are not achieving dryness at night if they are beyond 6 months post potty training. So our belief is that a child should move through the process of potty training and then achieve nighttime bedwetting, nighttime dryness within 6 months of that daytime potty training milestone. And if they're not, there's something that we need to look at. And that's a really bold statement. We kind of stand behind it though. And so here's why. We believe that through the process of potty training, if everything goes smoothly and well, that means that your child's body had the foundational skills to be able to appropriately use their body in a way to let pee out and to push poop out. They have the foundational skills related to sensing their sensations, their toileting sensations within their body, and then know how to sequence what happens next and how to take action on that. So the foundational skills for staying dry at night really are related to optimal foundational skills that are built before they are expected to be dry at night. That if they have these foundational skills, they can then stay dry at night pretty organically after potty training is achieved. I know there's going to be some questions related to physiological readiness. Well, maybe their bladder just isn't ready to hold their pee overnight. Well, there's several components to that. The biggest component is related to kidney function at night and what our body does in sleep. And what our body does in sleep is it slows everything down. Everything kind of takes a break, including the kidneys. And that's not to say that the urine production stops, but it significantly slows from daytime production. So, of course, we're not peeing every 2 hours like we are during the day because our body functions so differently at night. At night, your child, any person really, should go through the whole night without having to pee more than once, ideally 0 times. And so if your child is having pee that's coming out all night, they're waking up with this soaked heavy diaper or pull-up, that's an indication that there's something happening in their body that isn't supporting them to be able to have the awareness to keep the pee in the bladder, because it's not an overflow problem. It's not a problem of too much pee being produced. It's a problem of awareness of the brain to what's going on with the rest of the body and how to stay continent, how to keep the bladder closed while it's unconscious, which is a skill. But how do we build that? So I've made a couple of bold statements related to the expectations of nighttime dryness. I want to bring it into some solid information that we have from our clinic, the kids that we see and how we work through nighttime bedwetting and what brings them success. So we always look at daytime habits and bowel habits first. So we want to make sure that their bowel routine, they're evacuating poop out on a regular basis. Those things need to be happening because the rectum and the bladder are neighbors. And if the rectum is very full of poop, then it's going to press on the neighboring bladder and create some pressure changes that can lead to leakage. And so once those things are resolved, and then the child is only presenting with nighttime bedwetting, one huge area that we find is not talked about a lot, but is one major breakthrough area in our clinic is working on global coordination. And so when a child is only being challenged with nighttime dryness, we look to how they are able to control their body when they're in this conscious state, because that's an indication of what's happening overnight. If they have really, really great coordination of their body during the day, like high level, coordinated, multifaceted tasks, if they can count backwards from 10 while they're skipping backwards down the hallway, they can do all these different things, negotiate their environment, sequence the task of skipping, and also think logically too, how do I count backwards from 10 while I do all those things? That's challenging their brain to think about multiple things at one time. When your child is asleep, it still needs to do multiple things at one time. They're just unconscious. And so it can be more challenging to achieve that if they don't have that multitasking skill related to their brain's ability to control their body in different ways at the same time. So we often find that a child who is only struggling with nighttime dryness has a tremendous amount of difficulty related to global coordination. They are an 8-year-old and they can't do jumping jacks. They can't skip. Maybe they're a 5-year-old and crawling backwards is really, really challenging for them. But crawling backwards is a skill that at 5 years old, at 4 years old, at 3 years old, they should have. And so what is getting in the way of those things? There's lots of different things. Primitive reflexes, strength, body awareness and coordination, maybe just the ability to understand what's happening in their environment and processing that sensory information to be able to then do the task. There's so many reasons why a child might have difficulty with a multifaceted task that challenges the brain to multitask. However, that's really the key that we find. We find that once we unlock that ability for their brain to do things all at once, different things all at the same time, that then their nighttime bedwetting resolves and they achieve dryness. And that's not for every child. There's really unique and rare instances of things like hormonal imbalances. We look at airway health and make sure that we've covered our bases with that, because that can be a big role. Sometimes chiropractics is the big key. There's very small and rare instances that we need other things to help us. But the biggest thing that we find, the general statement that I have about nighttime bedwetting, is that if a child is not staying dry while they're asleep, they likely are being challenged by this global coordination skill. So working on things that build their body awareness, coordination, doing different things at the same time, that's going to be a really big thing that you can implement that might bring about a huge amount of change. Thanks so much for being with us today. I hope that today's video was helpful. As always, we have services and resources for you, so reach out to us. We would love to help you start to find resolution for your child from their toileting challenges.